Okay, so you've taken a stab at this one or two, and you've got something going, and now you want to make sure that you can maintain this over the long term. So what you want to do is make sure that you're building relationships and keeping them up, and it's just like any other relationship, really. So a couple tips that you can use. I pulled this from this website, a recent article, but they are people, right? So what you want to do is know the audience, number one. So you don't want to insult them. Make sure that you actually understand who their market is before you approach them. Because if you're in the dog niche and you approach a cat person, might tick them off a little bit from the beginning. Second tip is be clear about expectations. So they've, yeah, like it says, they've got a lot going on and they get approached by other brands regularly. So just be clear. So mention all this stuff, right, that we talked about even in the contract. Number of pieces you expect, over what period of time, how you plan to use their content, and which channels. Be clear on what call to actions you want them to use. Explain the approval process if you have one. Define captions or campaign tagging. Set up an FTC disclosure, I guess. Well, you could go that far too. This one is key though. This tip: don't limit creativity, because we don't like, it's their audience, it's their following, and they built it up through their personality. So we can't come in and say, nope, you can't say that. That's too, uh, that's not formal enough or whatever. You have to, yeah, it says you have to kind of trust them in order to do what's best. They know their audience best. They're following better than you. So don't limit their creativity. Guide them, but don't limit it. All right. And the other thing is making the offer stand out. So because they do get approached by a lot of people and it is kind of like a billboard, you have to get their attention. So you can kind of brainstorm with them and see, what do you think is going to work for this? What can we really do to make this stand out? And do that. And number five is keep them in loop. So when you're running, when if they're running a promotion, kind of follow up with them. Just say, hey, how's it going? How did this one go? Did you get any really good responses or anything? Any bad responses? Uh, Ask for their feedback on it, and ask for like how you can improve it, or is there anything you can do to help them, that sort of thing. People love it when you say, is there anything I can do to help? They're like, whoa, that's cool. He really cares. So that's a good thing to do. I think the main tip for influencer marketing and keeping a good relationship with these people is be honest. Don't lie. If you start being, shifty, you're not going to maintain a long-term relationship. When you say you're going to do something, do it. Don't make promises you can't keep, because that's a great way to burn a bridge. If something happens in the whole process and you're super upset or you're triggered or something happens and you want to just tear them a new one, don't. Okay? And I'm going to tell you this, if you're going to run into issues with business no matter what, and the best thing that you can do, the best advice I can give you, when something bad happens that really ticks you off and you just want to tear their head off, don't. Write out, like literally open up Notepad or Edit Plus or whatever you have, or an email. Well, I don't like to do it on email because I might hit send by accident. Open up Notepad or whatever kind of text editor you have. Write out the nastiest, most cursing thing you can do, just to get it out. Get it out of your body onto your screen, and then let it sit there for a minute, and then hit delete, and then respond to the person, because now you've got all that negative energy out of your body. You're not reacting emotionally to any issues that come up, and you'll maintain relationships for a longer period. Because 9 times out of 10, when an issue comes up with an influencer, it's just a communication issue where things weren't clearly explained or they weren't explained properly, and now they're on one page, you're on another, and the relationship can sour pretty quick. But the last thing you want to do is upset these people, because they do have huge followings, and just as easily as they can promote your stuff and make you a lot of money and do really well, they can also destroy you. So you have to realize that it's not worth it. So if something bad happens, even if they're wrong, like I said, do that technique. Just do the expelling negative energy onto the screen and then delete it. Don't show it to them. Don't send it to them. I do this all the time in my business. I deal with a lot of customer service, and I've got courses and boot camps and one-on-ones that I run, and I've even got stores that I run. And there's sometimes you get somebody emailing you or messaging you and just being a complete dick, and you're like, oh, I don't even want to deal with you. Like, you can just go to hell. Why are you so evil? And you think all this stuff in your brain, but if I respond that way to these people, it's going to hurt me long term. So imagine me on my brand, if I start responding to anybody who's mean to me with the same level of meanness. Like, I would destroy my brand because they'd be like, no, you can't, oh, this guy's a jerk. I'm not going to deal with him. He's such a prick. I want to sometimes, but I'm not going to. So if I get something that upsets me or something that triggers me or sets me off emotionally, I will do that. Where I'll just be like, okay, well, here we go. I'm going to blast them. And then I blast them, but it's just me blasting them privately. And then I delete that and then I respond to them in a more appropriate manner. So that, because usually it's just a misunderstanding. Usually, maybe something's going wrong in their day. Maybe their dog just died. Maybe somebody passed away in their family. Maybe they just caught their spouse cheating on them. You never know what's going on in their life. Maybe they just got in a car accident and they decided to write you an email right after it. We don't know any of this stuff, so don't respond emotionally online, especially with influencers, because, like I said, just to reiterate, they can destroy your business just as easily as they can help it. So keep that in mind. That's probably my number one tip, regardless of all this other fluff from websites that I found, is don't react emotionally. Get that negative energy out. There's a 5-second rule too from Mel Robbins that I love, and I still use that. I'll show you that one actually. Watch this. Mel Robbins 5-second rule. If you haven't seen this yet, it's a book too. But it basically, the basic gist is, this is her. The basic gist is whenever something happens, count backwards from 5, like a rocket launch. Like, so somebody's being a jerk to you face to face. You in your head, you go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That 5-second space of time will eliminate that emotional response that you want to give them, and it'll allow the logic in your brain to kick in, because your brain plays tricks on you and it thinks, well, if somebody's coming at me hard, I got to respond hard. And that's the emotional side. When you count down from 5, you're giving that emotional side time to drain, and then it shifts to the logical side. She explains it a lot better than me, but there is a book about it. She's got a whole bunch of videos about it, and I think, was it this one? One of these is like a 20-minute video. It's freaking awesome. So if you don't take anything else away from this whole course, take Mel Robbins' 5-second rule and apply it to your life, and I think you'll be loving it. It's so good, so powerful, so good. I used to think mindset was like mumbo jumbo, but now, being a little bit older and a little bit wiser, I hope, I'm starting to understand that it's probably the most important thing in any business. And so if you're trying to maintain relationships with people that may be difficult to deal with, some of these influencers, they're eccentrics, then just use all the tools at your disposal to make sure you maintain a calm demeanor, and you have the ability to not respond emotionally to a lot of these people, because there's no point, and the risk of your business and them destroying it is too great, so it's not worth it. So just think of that, consider all that stuff, and now go ahead and get out there, try and line up some influencers. It's free. All you have to really give them is a little bit of your product, which is cheaper than buying ads or paying for Google Shopping ads, although Google Shopping ads do work really well. Anyway, off to the races and on to the next.